All right, let's get to it. Ian Castleberry joining the Wise Guys. And, of course, it is our Major League Baseball update presented today by our friends at Happy Hill Restaurant. Hey, Ian, good Monday to you, friend.
Good Monday to you. Good weekend?
I did. We got to catch up with friends, a little social distancing and all of that. And it was really
nice.
It was fabulous, man. That just, that feeds me. And that was really great. So a little poop today, but hey, that's worth the price. And I've got you right now talking some Major League Baseball. Before we do, though, Ian, boy, looks like your Lions are back to sucking. How was that 6 days between games?
Well, first of all, I wasn't aware that they had left sucking, but I was pretty confident that they still stunk. But you're right. I did have those 6 days to savor a win. I'm sure nobody listening actually watched that, subjected themselves to the Lions and the Broncos. But that just completely typified why this team is so bad. I mean, they cannot put together a full 60 minutes of football. The first quarter was awful, and I was pretty sure I was going to turn the game off. But in the second quarter, they came back and they played tough, and they cut it. I believe it was 17-10 at halftime. And I thought, they're in this. They're playing good defense. Their offense is okay. But then it just fell apart in the second half. They had two crucial fumbles, couldn't run the ball. Jared Goff making mistakes again. Dan Campbell with another just absurd fourth down call. Like we've talked about before, I praise Dan Campbell for being aggressive, but you got to choose your spots, even with a team that's absolutely terrible. So, yeah, I enjoyed that one win. It's probably the only one the Lions will get. And onward and forward, I guess.
Have you guys thought about Lions fans maybe starting a support group?
Oh, I think that's why social media was invented. I mean, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, it used to be sports talk radio back in the day. I mean, listening to Detroit Sports Radio and hosts just shouting themselves hoarse on Sunday afternoons and Mondays. Yeah, I don't know. There is a support group, but I think, honestly, I think we give enough of our lives to the Lions on Sundays and just prefer to live our lives the rest of the week.
There you go. Well, buddy, you only got about a month to go, and you can really, truly start living your life again. 4 weeks for you guys, anyway.
Wasting my Sunday. I spent how much on Sunday ticket for this?
Yeah, I know. No kidding. For one win, what? All right, well, I'll tell you what. We'll ease your pain, Ian, and we will move on to Freddie Freeman, our baseball headlines, and the negotiations obviously stalled now with the lockout in place. But is there some tension from Freddie's camp that they could not get a deal done before the lockout?
Yeah, we're going to go from my pain to potentially the Braves fans' pain, although I'm sure Braves fans feeling good, winning the World Series and the afterglow of that throughout the offseason. But it does appear that maybe there is some tension between Freddie Freeman and the Braves for not reaching an agreement, agreeing to a contract before the lockout. And now there's this limbo. Players are locked out. There's not going to be any negotiations. But in the meantime, Freddie Freeman may be kind of stewing for the next 2 months over the fact that the Braves didn't take care of him when other players were signing for big money contracts. Now, apparently, the big sticking point is that Freddie Freeman wants a 6-year contract, and the Braves only want to do a 5-year contract. And you think, well, okay, 1 year, come on, you can't find a happy medium there. But, of course, the amount of it could also be a major problem. Reports are that Freddie Freeman wants a 6-year, $200 million deal, so that would be, $33 million a year average, whereas the Braves offered 5 years, $135 million. That's a $27 million average annual value, and Freeman rejected that offer. So the Braves know they're going to have to, if they want a 5-year deal, they're going to have to sweeten it considerably, maybe make it a 5-year, $142 million deal. But the danger now is that Freddie Freeman is a free agent and he's free to talk to any other team. And the Los Angeles Dodgers are lurking in the background. And they just lost Corey Seager. They just lost Max Scherzer. They could put Freddie Freeman at first base, move Max Muncy over to second. Freddie Freeman, an Orange County native, so maybe the appeal of going home, besides the money, of course, would be quite strong. The Blue Jays also reportedly showing some interest in Freddie Freeman. So the Braves, if they thought, kind of like the rest of baseball, like, oh yeah, Freddie Freeman, he's going to re-sign with the Braves, that's going to happen. Well, it might not. And the Braves reportedly are eyeing other options in case they don't re-sign Freddie Freeman. Notably, there's talk that the Braves are looking at Matt Olson of the Oakland Athletics as a possible trade target. Now, Matt Olson's very good. He hit 39 home runs last year, 35 doubles, 111 RBI. He's 28, so he's younger than Freeman by quite a bit. He has 2 more seasons of arbitration eligibility, so they wouldn't have to pay him big money for 2 seasons. But Matt Olson's good, but Freddie Freeman is a former National League MVP. Matt Olson's good. He's not Freddie Freeman, although he is younger. Freddie Freeman, 32 years old. That might be one reason why the Braves don't want to give him a 6-year deal.
Well, let me ask you this, Ian. I mean, despite all of this, and I know Braves fans are, probably freaking out right now, but do you feel at the end of the day this will get done?
I thought all along it would, but if Freeman is offended somehow that the Braves didn't even offer him a contract before the lockout after the initial 5-year offer, maybe there are some hard feelings there, but I just ultimately feel like this is something that's going to happen. I mean, the Braves need Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman is the kind of player I think you want to see in the same uniform throughout his career, face of the franchise. I do feel like this will get done. And I think, as great a player as Matt Olson is, or as popular as somebody like Anthony Rizzo might be, they're not Freddie Freeman. And I think the Braves know that and will ultimately get this done.
Yeah, I still hold out hope as well. Obviously, the baseball's lockout is not helping the cause, but I agree too. Don't panic quite yet, Braves fans. Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys Mondays on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines, talking Major League Baseball headlines. Thanks today to our friends at Happy Hill Restaurant bringing us Ian. All right, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens. This is their final year of eligibility for the Hall of Fame. We all know what's going on there with those boys. All right. It looks like to me they're not going to make it in their 10-year run. So, Ian, if that doesn't happen, will they be saved down the road by the Modern Era Committee?
I think their chances are even worse.
Really?
The Modern Era Committee.
Because of the people. I hear you on that.
Because I think the players, former players, veterans, I think would hold a much more serious grudge against Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens for taking steroids, for cheating, for gaining an unfair advantage when they knew it was wrong. And the voting body for a veterans committee like this is 16 people. And Bonds and Clemens, or Sammy Sosa, if you want to add that, they require 12 of 16 votes to be inducted. And I just cannot see 12 veterans saying to Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens that, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame when we all know you cheated. I think Bonds and Clemens' chances, even though, they're not going to get in, I agree with you. Maybe under the old, 15-year rule, maybe it would have relented, but 10 years, I just think that there's still a sizable contingent of the voters who won't vote for a PED user. I do think a lot of the younger voters or people, who are first-time Hall of Fame voters maybe are a little less harsh about PEDs. I mean, I've said many times if I was a voter, I would vote for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens because I just think, yes, they cheated, but we don't know if the people throwing them the pitches were cheating as well. There's just no way of knowing that. And they were the best at their positions, even though they cheated. But I don't think the Modern Era Committee full of veterans is going to take that same stand.
All right. That's why we asked you that question. That'll be real interesting. I'm curious, Ian, to see what the final tally will be in their final year of eligibility for those boys. And again, the sad thing, we talked about this, they didn't need to use steroids. I mean, both were on their way to the Hall of Fame, but it was just a matter of, to me, especially on the Bonds end, it was all about ego. He's like, man, McGuire and Sosa are getting all the attention. I want me some of that.
Yeah, there's a really good article on ESPN.com in the Major League Baseball section. I mean, it is speculative, but it is based on numbers, on just how much Bonds and Clemens, how much their numbers would have been affected had they not taken PEDs. And the contrast is startling. I mean, they still would have been productive Major League players. Maybe wouldn't have played as long. I'm sure, PEDs also added several years to both of those players' careers, but you're talking a difference, especially in Bond's case, of a couple of hundred home runs at least. So that is just a major difference.
Indeed. Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys, joining us via the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines presented by Happy Hill Restaurant. It's our Major League Baseball update. Yasiel Puig is back in baseball, former Dodger, Red, and a few other teams, but he's not coming back to the Major League. So, Ian, where is Puig headed next?
Yeah, Puig is going to play in the Korean baseball organization for the Kiwoom Heroes, a 1-year, $1 million deal. It is surprising. I mean, listeners might remember Puig was on the verge of signing with the Braves last year before the COVID-shortened season, but he tested positive for COVID, and that was the end of any chance of him signing with the Braves. In 2019, he was still a productive player. And last year he played in the Mexican League, hit 10 home runs, hit 312. I don't know what the level of competition is there, but it hasn't played in the majors since 2019. We hit 267 with 24 home runs. Certainly there's some concern that Puig is, a disruptive influence in the clubhouse, that, his shenanigans on the field sometimes where either he loses focus or he tries to show off. But I hate to take a dark turn with this. There are some very serious allegations against Yasiel Puig off the field.
I was going to bring that up.
There's a Washington Post article that was published 2 days ago. I'll link to it on my Facebook and on my Twitter, IANCASS, if anyone wants to see it. But Puig was accused of sexual assault by 2 women in 2017, and he settled with them out of court, and that this never became public. Until Major League Baseball decided to investigate these cases. And there's also a third case of an alleged assault that happened in 2018 that came to light after Puig tested positive for COVID and ended up not signing with the Braves. Now, he settled all of these cases. Gloria Allred was the lawyer for all 3 of these women, and that's kind of her tactic is to settle with the accused, but I don't think any major league team is going to touch Yasiel Puig with these allegations, with the current policies that were in place, which were not in place, by the way, in 2017, or they were just beginning to be implemented. If you're wondering, well, Puig, he did play 2017, he did play 2018 and 2019, but the Major League Baseball policy toward sexual assault, domestic violence is much different, much more strict now than it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. That's why we ask you the questions. Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys, presented today by Happy Hill Restaurant, joining us via the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. Finally, Tim Kurkjian, named to the Writers' Wing of Baseball's Hall of Fame. Well-deserved. Always liked him. ESPN's baseball analyst was and still is, I believe, a top-flight reporter before joining the mothership. And Ian, in terms of baseball's best writers, where does Kurkjian stand for you?
I think Kurkjian would be. I think he would certainly be in the top 10. I don't know if I'd put him in the top 5, but I think I might put him in the top 5 based on his beat reporting. I mean, he was obviously, when he went to ESPN and Sports Illustrated before that, he was known as a national columnist, really good at finding little notes and nuggets throughout the league. He's always been a champion for the sport, which I think is one of the things that is most enjoyable about him. He's not one of these Adam Schefter type insiders. Okay, I hear this, I hear that. This guy's going to be traded, this contract's up. But finding these little factoids, these little things that you didn't know that just continually make you marvel at what an amazing sport baseball can be. But, he covered the Texas Rangers for the Dallas Morning News, the Orioles for the Baltimore Sun. Like I said, Sports Illustrated, national writer, then ESPN. Continues to do great work on ESPN. I think a lot of fans love the fact that he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's willing to poke fun at himself and make himself look silly on the air. And for the Baseball Hall of Fame and the Baseball Writers Association of America, to give them the highest award, the Career Excellence Award, which goes to meritorious contributions to baseball writing. nobody is more deserving of that than Tim Kurkjian.
All right, well said. Yeah, one of the greats. There's no doubt on that one for sure. Hey, you are too, Ian. Thank you so much, friend. Hang in there with the Lions. Before you know it, spring training will be here, and hopefully it's a better 2022 for your Tigers.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I mean,
there you go.
And I'm enjoying Cade Cunningham with the Detroit Pistons. That's
See?
the bright light in Detroit sports right now.
There you go, friend. Well, continue to enjoy.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you, friend. That's Ian Castleberry with the Wise Guys, and Ian's appearance talking Major League Baseball and his Lions, presented by Happy Hill Restaurant.